For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com, and youtube.com/channelsweb has videos of all our shows. Also watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. And besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app has an eyewitness feature, so use it to share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. We're now being joined by Professor Anthony Killer, the Director, Center for International Advanced and Professional Studies, and a Professor of Strategy and Development, to look at the 9th National Assembly that was just inaugurated today. A pleasure having you on the news at 10, Prof.
My joy to be here.
Now, are there any surprises for you in the choice of principal officers elected today?
Well, are there surprises? No, not really. I think everything went according to plan, in the sense there's no each.
Whose plan, if I may ask?
Well, to the ruling party's plan. I mean, the candidates that won, the four of them, were the ones backed by the party, the leadership of the party, both in terms of party and both in terms of government. 4 years ago, this time 4 years ago, when they were going to elect the National Assembly, I wrote an op-ed in which I told the APC to apologize to voters because they could not get their acts together. I think today we should commend them, because it shows that the party is connected among themselves and capable of doing a very basic thing, which is to select the first among equals, so that they followed it up. I think it went well. I think the upper chamber was a bit too boisterous, and there was no need for them to wear those kind of flowery scarf they wore amongst their neck.
But they were excited, I reckon.
Well, they should keep the excitement outside the chambers, outside the upper chambers. That is not a very good thing. The upper chamber should be a sober, solemn place for very matured and thinking mind. It wasn't necessary. They could do a bit less rowdiness, which they had. But that's just little thing. But that was there. I think the presentation of the candidacy of the now past Deputy Senate President, I think it was a good one that he stood up to stand against the other Deputy President. He used the word referendum. That's wrong. But I think it's a good thing to say, look, this chap was suspected, was alleged to have led the invasion of the chambers just a few months ago. I think there's an alternative to him. Obviously, the whole of the APC do not agree with him, and they voted him. That's what democracy is about.
But considering the outcome of today's election, do you expect a more cordial relationship between the executive and the legislature?
Well, I think in theory and on paper, yes. Now, this is the point. As citizens, besides and beyond whoever we voted for, what has come out today, as citizens, we should expect that these people agree amongst themselves. They voted who they wanted, so there should be no excuse, there should be no bottleneck. Hopefully, it is hoped that they agreed not just on name, just to say, it's your turn, you go. That they've agreed on some principle. So nobody should come and say, this person is disturbing me anymore. Because hopefully they've agreed on some key points on how to work together. I think the leaders of the chambers, both the Speaker and the Senate President, are setting themselves into a tiny trap.
Why do you say so?
Because they loaded themselves with too much agenda. It is not their place to rule the country. They should limit themselves to say that we will let bills pass on time. We will set up a good time for budget to pass.
So you see, those things should be top on the agenda.
They should talk about a chamber that works. Okay. They should talk more about the efficiency of legislature and the effectiveness of legislature. They should learn to save time, use more technology. In 2019, it's a bit analog, it's out of date for you to be counting each senator one by one. You're counting 3 times 36. There are other ways to do that. We should have my Senate leader of the future, my speaker of the future, will be a speaker that talks about effective representation, transparency, something efficient and how to make it work. We're making some way forward, 20 years later, but we're slow, but we're going on it.
Well, the man on the street will be expecting development and hoping that the legislature is able to push issues that change their lives. So what do you think should be high up?
Well, I think as legislators, a good thing I'll be high up is representation. The idea that the man on the street, associations, people, individuals, can look up to who represents them in their federal constituencies, in their Senate, to say this man, this woman, is going to Abuja to speak for us. So that when they go there, when a law has been passed, the reason why in all the Senate you address people as the gentleman or the honorable gentleman from X state is a US fixtures, is an idea that that person is coming to bring the interest and the sensibility of where he or she represents. So when there's a law, somebody should stand up and say, I think, or those who sent me here, in my area, the way we view it is different from the way you view it. I personally, for example, and I congratulate the Speaker of the House of Assembly,
House of Reps.
House of Reps, yes, House of Reps. I personally would push, if I was a legislator from Lagos, you know what I would ask for? Special status for Lagos State. Because of the weight it carries, because of the body. So you would go there to say, my Lagos has this kind of issues, and I think the federal government should do this about it. If I was from Zamfara State, I would say we have a specific security issues, because in my area, this is what we deal with. The essence of a National Assembly is individuals coming from specific areas to bring in issues to be dealt with nationally. So that is a good place to start from.
And that's a good way to lead the discussion. Professor Anthony Killer, always a pleasure having you on the news.
Thank you very much.
Now let's cross over to Abuja studios where Maupe has more stories for us. Hello, Maupe.
Hello, Melinda. It's definitely good to see you tonight. Well, looking here in Abuja, we're already having activities ahead of Democracy Day tomorrow. President Muhammadu Buhari is asking law enforcement agencies in the country and across Africa to tackle financial corruption in the political system. The president was speaking at the National Democracy Day Anti-Corruption Summit in Abuja, where he listed 8 areas of focus for him to tackle in his second tenure. He expresses his regret over recent political experiences, which he says was characterized by corruption and influence of money on party politics. Our correspondent Gloria Umezioke reports.
Presidents of Nigeria and Rwanda attend the National Democracy Day Anti-Corruption Summit in Abuja. Service chiefs, governors, heads of anti-corruption agencies in Africa, party leaders and members of the diplomatic corps, among others, are in attendance.
This summit is expected.
Acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says the EFCC has over 800 convictions to its credit from 2015 to date, clearly stating that the war will get tough in spite of existing challenges.
Despite this record, corruption remains a challenge in our country. I believe that the fight against corruption requires a multi-stakeholder approach. The private and public sectors are critical players in this regard.
Other African leaders are optimistic corruption can be conquered with adequate push.
We tend to focus on the petty corruption of everyday life, while turning a blind eye to the more consequential forms that people only whisper about because the rich and the powerful are the main beneficiaries.
President Muhammadu Buhari regrets that Africa has lost over $1 trillion to corruption in the last 50 years.
I urge all law enforcement agencies and the judiciary in Nigeria and across Africa to tackle financial corruption in our political system. Uncontrolled electoral spending and voter inducement by politicians must be combated if we want to consolidate true democracy and good governance.
He lists 8 areas of priority going forward.
Close existing legislative loopholes, facilitate collaboration with the judiciary, and strengthen the criminal justice system.
The president has promised to tackle corruption using bold strategies, which will be a departure from the past to significantly address this menace for a safer continent. From Abuja, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission has announced plans to release a new timeline that would ensure the success of the digital switchover program. While speaking to journalists in Abuja after a meeting held behind closed doors with officials of the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria, the Director General of the Commission, Mr. Modibo Kawu, says the government remains committed to the digital switchover initiative.